Je vais maintenant donner la parole à Jodie Bricout, animatrice de la plateforme avniR.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much everyone for being here. And we're really proud to present to you today the work that we're doing. I'd just like to mention a couple of words on who we actually are, this crazy avniR platform that organises fun conferences. So we're actually a project within a non-for-profit organisation in the region called CD2E, who's been around for 10 years and has worked really hard on supporting the development of eco-enterprises in the region. And 3 years ago launched the idea of having a collaborative platform around LCA work called avniR. So what is the platform avniR? Basically, we're a resource centre and a collaborative kind of expertise group in life cycle analysis, regionally based in Calais. And our real mission is to integrate life cycle thinking in how businesses in all sectors in our region make their decisions and rethink the way that they do business and the decisions that they make. And we do this through actions around awareness raising, research, training, and direct support for these organisations. We see LCA as being an extremely important scientific basis for, on one hand, on the bottom left, improving performance. So when we talk about eco-conception or eco-design, we think if it's not based on at least second-hand life cycle analysis data, we might be making a false good improvement in our product. Also being able to communicate around the environmental nature of our product. If we do that without any real idea of the figures behind why the product is good or not, then we're starting to go down the path of greenwashing. So we really see LCA as a foundation to do these really great actions, and you might not need to do a full LCA, but it needs to be based on that kind of thinking. So just to show you briefly our four main target areas. So first, filière, that's the sector groups. So we work with poles and clusters. So when we talk about industry federations, in France we talk a lot about clustering, we talk a lot about pôle. We have pôle de compétitivité at a national level, and pôle d'excellence at a regional level. So France is very into grouping businesses and getting to work together, and they're one of our main kind of target areas. Which is the focus today, so I'll go into that more later. But yeah, clusters and federational, professional federations. Research and training as well, so higher education, laboratories, private or linked to higher education. We also think it's really, really important to work on developing a local offer of these things, so of LCA capability. So by this, concretely, we're talking about having good consultancies based in the region, and we're very proud to work with small consultancies that have been working on environmental management, that are diversifying to really integrate life cycle thinking and life cycle assessment into their offer, so that our companies can get good advice locally. And we also work on the demand side of things. So how can big companies or local governments, for example, integrate life cycle aspects into how they make their purchase decisions? So working on the demand and the offer side of things at the same time. Our final target are the businesses themselves, but we work through the branch organisations to touch those businesses. We heard in the earlier session who do businesses call to get involved with an LCA thing. We don't want them to call us. We don't really necessarily want them to know who we are. We want them to call their own branch organisation, their own cluster, the people that they're calling every day about how to improve my business. We want those people to be able to help them integrate life cycle thinking into their business as well. That's very important for us. So that's our final target, even though we don't touch them ourselves. And all this is facilitated by institutional partners, such as the Conseil Régional, the Chambers of Commerce, of course ADEM is a very strong partner, and many others, and I apologise to all that I've forgotten. And also expert and national and international experts such as yourselves, who we try to work with to understand how to better help our businesses. So what we're quite excited about right now is that we've very recently launched 4 strategic studies in 4 different sector of activities together. Now, we've worked together with our technical and financial partners, the Conseil Régional, Calais, and ADEME, to finance 4 studies in parallel with exactly the same methodology. Each study is co-financed by the organisation that's leading the project, so they've really taken it on board and are doing it themselves. It's not us doing the work, it's their project. They're individually financed by this regional fund that's called the FRAME, which is co-organised by ADEME and the Conseil Régional. And we help kind of bring it all together and make sure that the 4 sectors can follow this thing through at the same time and share learnings across the study, which is really the unique element of it. The first step is the plan of actions for the first 4 filières, the first 4 sectors that we're talking about now. And as we're going through this 6-month study phase, there's a working group where we cross all that together. So all of the sectors are talking to each other about their studies and sharing the learnings from the benchmark, etc. But it's actually bigger than that, because we have other sectors that are ready to get on board and are positioning themselves to go further. And those sectors are also involved in the learnings from these first studies. So the idea is that in 6 months we're going to go from a planning phase to an action phase. So those first 4 sections are going to really start implementing things, and that's when it gets really exciting. And at the same time, the next sectors are going to be starting in the strategic reflection phase. But they will have already benefited from the learnings of the first 4 sectors. So they'll continue to have their kind of committee meetings together. And at the same time, they'll benefit from the learnings from the first group, and also the next group will start getting in. So it's almost infectious. We're going viral. And it means that once this goes through, and we've affected everyone in the region, we're really creating communities of knowledge. So the first group that have gone through and are starting to get experience, they start working on this, and then they start work with the next group of sectors. And the exciting thing about that is that we all know that LCA is an extremely multidisciplinary field. And if we're going to work on packaging, we should also be working on logistics, and we need to work on the food and beverage side of things. They all need to work together to really have actions that make sense. So what we're trying to do is get all the sector groups up to speed to be able to have really, really meaningful discussions about this stuff and find concrete solutions that make sense on the ground.